Live, and I'll just a second until I see if it comes alive. Okay. Live, and I'll just a second until I see if it. Okay. We are ready to go. I will start my video. Okay. We are live on YouTube.
Why, hello everybody this evening, and of course on YouTube there. Pulling up our WCC agenda. I didn't see any requests for changes, and everything on there right now is probably, well, I guess I'd like to say as you might anticipate. The big items still are elections committee and the WCC board self-evaluation.
You want to share your screen?
Yeah. Let me go to, pardon me. Okay, here. All right. Everybody able to see that? Oh, thumbs up, looking good, cool. Opening. A motto of the social ethic by Rudolf Steiner. The healing of social life is found when in the mirror of each human soul, the whole community finds its reflection. And when in the community, the virtue of each one is living. Would anybody like to contribute a song tonight? Sound of crickets. Maybe that song is. That's okay. I'll circle back to maybe a statement on the song here in a little bit. Excitement sharing. Would anybody like to start us out with excitement sharing?
I have a bit of excitement that I just remembered. I didn't mention it to the staff meeting but Torrin Finzer is going to be at our school tomorrow, and then kind of rolling into his full day talk on Saturday, which hopefully it'll be well attended. So anyway, Torrin Finzer is a very popular and long time Waldorf. He was a Waldorf student. He was a Waldorf teacher. He now teaches at a university that trains Waldorf teachers. So he's a man whose heart is deep in Waldorf education, and has written a whole bunch of books and all that.
I'll jump in next. My excitement sharing is the Winterberry handbook that Julie passed me last week or the week before, crafted by our very own Kelly DeFort. And I'll put this in the community comments because I'd like to have it documented somewhere, but it is a wonderful book. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to go through it yet, but I keep it in my car, and I really enjoy learning more about this school, especially as somebody who's kind of the new kid on the block. It's a great resource. Tapia and I both have enjoyed it and are very appreciative.
Where can one get a copy of it?
You can get a copy at school, and it's also on our website. So if you go to the Winterberry Charter School website under parents, it says Winterberry Family Handbook.
This is Sue, and my excitement sharing is that my girls tried out for a play this last week, 2 weeks ago, through Anchorage Community Theater, ACT, and they both got in, and Rowie has the lead. So we are so excited because she's waited a long time to have a lead in a play. So and Viv is a response on a magic 8-ball. So she doesn't say anything. She just holds up a sign. But it's so exciting, and it's going to be a busy May. So it's the 3 weekends in May, the show is. So mark your calendars to come see The Claw, because there's another Winterberry family in it as well.
Neat.
I would like to share my excitement is that we have a visiting eurythmist who is going to be with us for the next couple of weeks at school. And she shared eurythmy with the students earlier in the week, and she is continuing, and she shared eurythmy with faculty during faculty meeting. And yeah, she'll be with us for the next 3 weeks. So that is very exciting.
Miss Pepe, should I search for our approval of minutes, our minutes from last week?
Maybe Molly could put them. I should probably give Molly the.
I just emailed them to everybody right as the meeting was starting.
Okay.
Got it.
So.
I think I can do it then.
Okay. And we'll all sing our Winterberry. Just kidding.
I feel like we need like an Irish jig for today, some sort of Irish song.
Well, we do have kind of, maybe at the end, if we have time, we could sing the song we sang in faculty meeting, which is also on the chalkboard when you walk in. May blessings, may troubles be less and blessings be more. It's kind of Irishy. Anyway.
Sorry there, team. I think I lost it. Molly, is this it? Looks
No.
like it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It was there for a second. Oh yeah, there it is.
Okay, awesome. All right, I'll do a slow scroll. Right now, we're just going over documents themselves and not notes. So I kind of sped up the scroll. Would anybody like to approve the minutes? Awesome. Thank you, Lisa.
Actually, Mark, can we go back to the place where it was talking about Una Martin and the Play Yard Committee?
Yeah, right here.
Yeah, right there. Yeah, at the very bottom sentence, the newly involved parents are. Was that something that we wanted to fill in?
I'll double check my notes and I'll and maybe take it out.
If I remember correctly, we were thrilled that we had so much professionalism and talent out of many of our population that were involved in that. So maybe if it had something to do with our newly involved parents are quite skilled and adept at taking care of our play space.
Great, I'll add that. Thank you.
Awesome. Approval of the minutes? That sound like what everybody else remembered from that statement last week, month.
This is Sue. I approve. I vote. What am I doing? I motion to approve the minutes as written.
And this is Lisa, I second.
Thank you. New share agenda. There we go. Approval of the agenda. Did everybody get a chance to take a look at this? So over the last few days there, and would anybody be willing to approve today's agenda?
Peter, move to approve the agenda.
This is Sue. I second.
Thank you. Community comments. 3 minutes each, please note. This is the public's time to talk and the board's time to listen. Winterberry Charter Council does not hear complaints against students or personnel in public session. It is not the board's practice to engage in discussion or to answer questions during community comments. Commenters' names will be recorded in the minutes. Thank you. Well, I guess I read that and I think to myself, I was going to take off my board chair hat and put on a community member and give a thank you to for the handbook to Kelly DeFort. But if it just says Mark Stover spoke and that's it, as per that statement, then maybe I will have to figure out another way to give her a public appreciation. Does that sound about right, everybody? I guess it's not your place to tell me because there's that in the rules too. Darn rules. All right, I'm probably over my 3 minutes. Anybody else like to contribute to our community comments?
Hey man, a handwritten note card is fundraising best practice. Thank you. Take a minute and a half to just send a little nice note card.
I can have some Winterberry notes at the front desk for you. You can take them home and use them whenever you would like that, Mark.
Yeah, be awesome. Informational reports. Julie, should I stop screen sharing and I'll let you?
Yeah, that's fine. I will click on this.
Yeah.
To see my report here. All right, principals report. Winterberry mission, growing the innate potential of each child. Winterberry's vision, to receive the children in reverence, educate them in love, and send them forth in freedom. Kind of a short report this month. It seems like a lot's going on, but not anything that is out of kind of ordinary business of springtime. Ongoing gratitude to families that are continuing to provide our staff meals on Thursday for our staff meetings so generously and deliciously. We love them. Please, again, just a reminder to please read your Winterberry business newsletter that comes into your email every Thursday. If you don't get it for some reason, then please call the front desk and we will make sure that you are on that email list. ASD, Alternative and Charter Schools Fair, was well attended last month. It was nice to talk to families and their excitement at the possibilities of being at Winterberry at some point and learning more about our school. It was nice just having an opportunity to see enthusiastic young families, and we have been giving tours ongoingly. So our cross country skiing is over for the season, and Winterberry finished strong. Like we always say, strong but mighty. And lots of children had a lot of fun all the way. School tours, like I said, are happening. And if you know anyone who would like to know a little bit more about our school, and please just have them call and schedule a tour with our front desk, and they can be a family that has children possibly coming, or it could be somebody from even the community that's interested in our charter school and who we are. And I was thinking I probably should call up the school board members and see if they would like to take a tour also, because we're blooming right now in our Winterberry school. Our walls are full of beautiful paintings and artwork, and our classrooms are full of happy, cheerful children. Grade 6, they're taking their Catchmack Bay trip in early April. That just got finalized, and they're excited about that. Lottery closed today at 5 p.m. So the next little while, what will happen is a lot of behind the scenes figuring out of what's what, and trying to weed out any of the bugs that are happening. And then families that applied to the lottery will find out. There's a little lag time so that we can have our ducks in a row. Tutoring program is going well. I think that a lot of children we see around school with the different people that they are working with, and everyone seems to be having a very productive and happy time. Our eurythmy teacher, as Lisa said, is here for 4 weeks. Her name is Deborah Jacobs. She's from California, and working with our kindergarten through 8th grade classes, and is a lovely, and faculty. And we are sharing her with Anchorage Waldorf. They're on spring break this week, so we had her for the whole week. If we, what we utilized her. And then in the next 3 weeks, we have a shared experience with her. And it's been wonderful so far. So she's a lovely person. AK STAR testing, formerly PEAKS testing, is our required state testing, yearly testing, and that window begins on March 28th. Today, we had a training in our faculty meeting, and so we're launching ourselves into our what we like to call gum chewing and snack time for the students. So we don't put in too much stress on anybody. It's just a good time, and relax, do your best, and there's your get to chew gum. So and then just keeping the 3-body meeting on the rounder here. And I don't know, we're getting down to the wire as far as 3-body possibility, but we'll do what we can do. And I know that we'll get to that as soon as we can. And we've gotten to a lot of things that we didn't get to last year. So I feel grateful for that. I'll end with a quote here. Our highest endeavor must be to develop free human beings who are able of themselves to impart purpose and direction to their lives. The need for imagination, a sense of truth, and a feeling of responsibility. These 3 forces are the very nerve of education. It's by our one and only Rudolf Steiner. So any questions? Okay.
Yeah, so given the enrollment concerns before, what are you seeing in regards to the lottery, and what are you thinking currently?
Well, the lottery just closed at 5 p.m. and it's 6:25. So I have not tuned in, only to know that there was a healthy amount. I wouldn't say overly like, wow, I can't believe that so many people applied, but a genuinely healthy amount of applications to the lottery. And when we kind of, I checked in periodically. And so I think that I think we'll be in, just an initial thought is I think that we will be in better shape this year, student population wise, than we were last year. Or in the coming year than we are this year. That's just my sense, but it'll take, a little bit of looking, and then it has to roll, then people are offered seats and they decline or they accept. So it's a process, and we know it well, and especially Colleen. So I think we're clicking along.
Thanks. Yeah, I appreciate the conservative way of stating, but it is nice to get some sense of what you're seeing.
Any other thoughts or questions?
Thank you, Julie.
Sure.
Faculty report.
So as always, Julie has done a really, really good job of capturing everything. I put it out to faculty during faculty meeting today, whether there was anything that they wanted me specifically to bring, and nothing came forward. The only thing that I would like to bring forward from the faculty perspective is that somehow my tenure on this board got a little bit shifted. And so I have done more than my 2 years, so I am going to be stepping down. So I offered up at faculty meeting that there will be a position open, 2 positions open. So be looking forward to hearing from hopefully some faculty members interested in taking this on. I am going to step down, and this will be my last meeting. So that is all that I have. Does anyone have any questions for faculty that I might be able to answer?
Miss Lisa, thank you for your service. Is there anything that I can do to help in that role?
I don't know. You could send an email to faculty encouraging them to consider serving on this board. That might be a good request to put out there. I don't know. Other than that,
yeah, maybe it's just a blanket statement, but
yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sure. I'll touch base on elections here as well, but again,
yeah, for sure. All right. If there are no other questions, that's it for faculty. Thank you.
Thank you. WPG report.
I stood in for Jesse last month, and it was a short and sweet report to them. And what the big conversation, what I got out of it was, there's a lot of interest in trying to figure out how to grow our parent community, how to gather the families together in a safe way. What are we allowed to do? And there was just a lot of conversation about, I guess, a spring activity or coming together in some sort of gathering, and whether it's educational, whether it's community, whether it's a mixture. So that's what I gathered from the WPG, and they fully funded the teacher trainings. So that a little thing like that, but they voted on that, and no. So and so that was nice that the garden money was used to fund the teacher trainings that were requested. And as far as I remember, all the ones that were presented were funded.
Great news. Thank you, Sue. Shana, would you be willing to jump in with the budget report?
Yes. If you want to bring it up, I emailed it out to everybody because I did the quarterly last time, and our fiscal year 23, the month before. I wanted to update everybody with the ESER 2. So if you want to bring that up.
Yeah, I can do that.
And to remind everybody what the ESER 2 is, it's our CARES Act, so our COVID money. They dispersed COVID money to us in 3 disbursements because there was 3 times. We've already used our ESER 1. We used it into last year and the very beginning of this year. This is our ESER 2, which is a larger lump sum. And then we do have an ESER 3, which is it has not been created an account yet. So we have not utilized any of that, and it's even a larger lump sum. But this one, I wanted to update everybody where we're at with this. If you want to look at it, you can see our budget is the first column. After the money that gets taken out from what ASD, administrative costs, things like that, our total budgeted expense for this was the $167,091. As was discussed previously when we just talked about the ESER 2, most of it was going to be in our added duty, our subs that come in, our tutoring program that we're having, and just a really beefed up program to help support the students to get them to grade them to where they need to be because of COVID. So you can see on the right column, we've used about 56,000 or 59,000, sorry, on subs. And then we've used, just because our tutor, although there was tutors in there, sub tutors, our tutor that we hired, we've used about 7,000 of her. And then, good chunk for benefits, because with people comes, all the benefits. And then we also used, for COVID supplies, for the teaching supplies and other COVID medical supplies. We've used almost total about 9,000 of that. So we have about 70,000 more. And because of the way it's going, we're going right on track. We should end up using this full amount and not have to use the ESER 3 funds until the beginning of next year. And the ESER 3 funds, going off the top of my head, I forgot to write it down. It's a little over 400. I think it's 429,000, something like that, is the ESER 3. And that's what we're going to be using for our tutor to continuing tutoring, a little bit more of the tutoring program for the next year, as well as our counselor is going to be coming out of that. And that will hopefully fund them for the next 2 years. So, then we have any questions?
Is there an expiration on the ESER 3? Like when there's like a time period that has to be used by?
There is. Currently, the expiration is September of 2024, which means basically 2 fiscal years. So by the time September 2024 goes, we'll have it done. We'll have it used before, I would say before July of 2024. So
Okay,
yes,
thank you.
there's an expiration, but we're going on that timeline, knowing that there is one.
Thanks, Shana.
You're welcome.
Go back to my agenda here. All right. Committee reports. First one being administrative committee. Safety.
We haven't had a safety committee meeting this month, and there really hasn't been anything to report on particularly. Safety is always, number one. So we are every day in every way trying to do as much as we can at all times to keep children safe physically and emotionally.
Outdoor play space?
There has been no meeting beyond that initial meeting where we had a gathering of many skilled and amazing people. But there is a plan to schedule another meeting. So there will be a meeting, and this group, will revive, will re-revive, and we have some things to look at definitely for the upcoming summer and beyond.
WCC subcommittee. Would anybody like to speak on legislative policy? We might be passing on that one without our friend Jesse. Fair enough. I'm not prepared to speak on that myself.
I just wanted to offer one thing. I was in a principal, a statewide principal Zoom meeting the other day, and our commissioner of education was speaking and said that the money is coming into our state in a higher amount, most likely because of oil right now. And so what is the hope? He said it's not that we don't have anything to spend it on, because we do have things. And he said it's been a long time since that's really, that reality has come there our way as far as a state, but that we really, what he sees is the greatest need is working together, reasonably working together to make decisions, to be able to spend the money properly and to serve people. So that just has a little something to do with legislative that I just heard about 2 days ago. And I was happy to hear that, because more money means probably more money for schools. So
that's good news. And would you, again, I'm sorry, tell me who that individual was? Are they kind of
yeah,
they sit in a hierarchy?
Yeah, it's the state of Alaska Commissioner of Education, and his name is Michael Johnson.
Cool. Grant committee. Peter, would you like to contribute anything on that, or?
Nothing at this time.
Fair enough. Election committee being next on the list there. I'm not exactly well, we don't have Julie here today, and Molly, I'm not sure where you're at in that election process. It's a bit of a funky year, so
yeah, Mark, Jesse and I are the election committee, and we haven't met since last month.
Okay. You may or may not have seen it in my email. I just wanted us to kind of mull over a thought. It's difficult trying to drum up excitement for new people into the Zoom world, right? It's fair enough. And I wonder if we have better luck trying this process in the fall of next year when people are rejuvenated, and possibly we consider going back to, okay, so that's one question, question A. Question B is, if trends went in a positive way, which is difficult for me to know, of course, but if trends went in a positive way, would be at least curious or interested at looking at in-person meetings starting next year. Many of you that are on the board are hoping to pass the torch, and so what I don't feel is legit is to keep you on just for we don't want to hold you hostage, I guess is a good way of saying that. So is there a way that we could limp by as a board, and then as we limp by, I'm happy to pull as much weight is needed, and we'll start up in the spring, and we'll probably have a little more pep in our step is what I'm hoping. We'll have that new spring blood excitement, and maybe we're able to target a few of the new families, or and then maybe since we're going back to, and possibly we go back to in-person meetings and try that practice. Does anybody have any comments on that? I'm really open to ideas. I mean, I'm obviously the newest person on this board, or one of them to the school at least.
Mark, this is Molly. I just wonder if waiting until the fall would go against the bylaws, or if it would be okay.
I absolutely hear you on that. When I remember reading, it was a target, and I don't mean to say that I've got strong concepts of gray, but when I read it, it seemed like it was a target, and not every target's hit. And so, I mean, do I think that we would be shut down because we're not able to drum up any excitement for the board right now? I think that the school will be pretty understanding of the situation that we're in, the school district. I'm happy to ask permission from Chris and explain our current.
So
yeah,
I just don't know if enough information has gone. I don't feel like anything's gone out to the families. I mean, we've talked about it in here, but nothing's gone. I don't think, I could be wrong. I mean, there was something, I did get something today in my like from my 4th grade class about, positions that are open, come if you're interested. I do know that upcoming parent nights, like for example, I think G2 is meeting in person, maybe outside, maybe socially distanced. I'm not sure, but I'm wondering if there are more parent nights that are going to be maybe meeting in person, or even if there are meeting in Zoom, being a voice of letting parents know that that's something that's we need people. But I do think that I feel like the elections need to be held in the spring, just because in the fall other things happen, and so what's going on into the summer, into this fall, and I kind of don't want to hang on, be in the seat that it's going to be vacant. So I guess I could see if anybody's interested in trading with me, but that's just my point of view. I feel like if we can, something went out. I know something went out to G4 today. If I think other things have gone out in newsletters, there were a couple people that were interested, and I haven't been able to grab onto them. But if we maybe take 2 weeks to be drum up interest, and a question is, has there been nobody that has contacted you or anyone else?
Sue, I have not received any emails from anyone interested. I've asked a few parents, and they haven't shown a lot of interest or wanted to proceed with it. Would you like to join the election committee with Jesse and I?
Geez, what? I'm a great ideas person, Jesse's, and you are a great action people. As long as you realize that that's what you're getting an ideas person. I would, happily join that, as my husband laughs behind me.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, friends, I don't want to put it off either, and I definitely don't expect people who are hoping to transition out of this to stay longer. Well, like I said, I don't, just because we can't fill your role doesn't mean we should be holding you hostage. And my experience so far with pinning down others to try to help us has not been successful. And part of my experience with that also is that the Zoom part of this is a problem. You know, that it's hard to be the new person. So the two people that I've had that expressed interest as being community members basically bowed out to the effect of, well, I'm not really a Zoom person in the first place, and I'm having a hard time feeling like I'm going to assimilate or be an effective voice. So I'm happy to help in ways that I can, but I'm not sure if I'm, another month went by. I myself haven't done much contribution. So I'm all ears.
What do we think about meeting in person in April and trying to drag some friends to the meeting?
I think that's a good plan.
There could be chocolate and snacks.
Bunch of pie. Yeah, no, I'm all for it. I would happily. I mean, there's part of this too, though, that like, if you guys are interested in having a conversation about getting back to meeting in person, or we can mull it over, chat with our families, and see if that's appropriate for us at this time.
I think that it's been brought up in different Zoom meetings boards that I've been in the last while, that a combination of meeting in person, and also that once we've experienced being at home at 6 o'clock on Zoom, it's like, oh yeah, that's kind of nice sometimes, depending on, my house is quiet, so I'm not speaking for the people with children. But, like a combination, but there isn't really anything that can beat being in a space with people, especially if you're a parent that doesn't know that much about things. And we've been away from each other for a long time. So I think it's a wonderful idea to try to entice try to do an in-person, it'll be light and we can drive home in the light. And in April, try to just give a little push, and I'll put my thinking cap on and think about parents that I feel that would be appropriate for WCC, which usually are parents that have been at the school for a little longer, because it is the charter council and it does do things that it has a different place than WCC. So like Molly, you were saying, I think April, in person, food provided, and anybody can come masked or not, and have a opportunity to be in the same room. We could meet in the NPR, so it'd be the biggest room that we have, and well ventilated and all that. So
I personally am all for it. I would much rather that. It seems like between work and home, because like I'm at work right now. If I actually leave work, then the distractions aren't there. It's not me being called, or the kids coming in the room, or dogs barking, or just anything like that. So I'm all about it. And there's nothing better than being face to face with people. And I think that the commitment, and then the action of what we could get done, I think you would see a lot more progress with what we actually do as well too, personally. But so I'm all for it. I hate computers, and sitting down in front of this computer, I don't like it at all.
And we could get our song back.
Yes, and I won't be embarrassed to sing, knowing it's not going on YouTube. I'd be cool with that.
Yeah, I'm more than willing to help plan and put together something like that. I mean, the only reason that I wasn't involved in elections committee is at the time it was, I think when we looked at the bylaws, I believe it said, that people who were in seats that were up for election weren't supposed to be on the election committee. And mine was technically up for it at the time. But the intention is to continue on. So essentially, technically I'm running unopposed, but I'm not really running. I'm just continuing on in the same role as before. But yeah, I'm happy to participate in whatever I can to help drum up interest. And I got to be in all of one in-person WCC meetings in January of 2020 before everything went virtual. I got to say, hi, I'm really looking forward to getting to know everybody. And then everything shut down. So really getting to know some of you folks would be a lovely opportunity in person. Some of it I have had the opportunity, others I haven't. And I've also had a couple discussions with parents that I know and like, and there is a reticence, there has been, to join something at this particular time. And, maybe we could overcome some of those concerns and feelings with an in-person opportunity.
In summation, it sounds like a new strategy we're going to try is we're going to continue to send out feelers. We're going to now advertise that this will be an in-person meeting, masked or unmasked, in the largest building, and that we hope to invite some people, and if they would like to do, I probably can't do that because we need the school to vote on it, but they could tell us what their interest level is, and possibly help them write it or something. I'm trying to get the easy button going for people. But either way,
Is there a way to do it so that people who don't want to physically come to the meeting could somehow participate virtually as well, like a hybrid model? Or is that, I'm just asking because I'm not going to be in state next month, but I'd still be happy to Zoom in. And I'm just thinking if people outside of the WCC, like parents, want to observe the meeting, it sounds like, if I'm understanding it correctly, they wouldn't be able to do that unless they physically came to the school. Is that right?
I mean, me, I'm all about hybrid models. So we've done meetings I've been in meetings, not at the school, but another board meeting I'm on, where we Zoom in, and there's people that are in person and people on Zoom, and we have a screen. Even we could make it so that we could see everybody a little bit more. We could continue that likely, and even put it to YouTube. So
I think that would be a good idea.
if that failed, Paula, I've got this Bluetooth device that is pretty good for group meetings and phoning in. Possibly that's a solution too. If we're having a hard time hearing people, there's some sort of technical difficulty, and you already laid out your evening for that meeting, that might be a backup plan.
And as far as inclusivity and accessibility goes, a number of groups that I'm part of that do presentations who have seen the benefit of being able to have statewide reach, or folks being able to participate even if there's some other limitation. If it would fall underneath the ESSER funds as far as supplies for school operations, there are these really handy dandy little devices that I've seen, like at 4-Acre Group and a community space called the Nave, called Owls. And they are these little devices that are both cameras and microphones that sense who's talking, and they turn a camera towards that person. And so you hear that person talking and see them talking at the same time. And then when it moves on to a different person, it goes over to that person. And the experience for somebody who is not in the room is far superior to other avenues that I have seen. And that might be one way to potentially mitigate that in the short term as well as long term, the ability to have people participate even if they're traveling. Because if there's anything that I think as groups would like to keep from all of this COVID mess is some of the things that we learned about being able to involve people from afar while still engaging with each other in person.
I definitely think it's a good thought, Peter. Let's living with COVID. I mean, who knows what happens in 3 months from now? Yeah, I'm all ears.
So I asked Shayna, just texted her to see if she could possibly look into the cost of that and see if that's something that that we would, if it's not prohibitive, because we do have these little microphone, things that amplify our voices, which could also be helpful. But we have a lot of those. We have a lot of things that we geared up for our COVID times. $1,000. So
That was my quick glance. Sorry, I just quickly Google searched it and that's what it came up with. So, I mean, there might be less expensive ones. I'll keep looking, but that was my quick answer.
Yeah, that sounds about right from my understanding of it for the organizations who've utilized them. It is an investment for sure, but I mean, I don't get to make the determination as to whether or not it's a reasonable use of those funds or not. Just brought it up as a potential alternative or option. But even our office at Alaska Public Media, we don't have those sorts of things. We have, like a TV with kind of a basic USB attached camera on top, and then we just call in from one of those little phones with microphones attached to it that spread over the table, sort of thing.
It's a really neat invention, I have to say.
It is cool just watching the little video because I was Googling it as he was talking about it. That thing's pretty sweet.
I'm going to jump off at this point. So thank you very much, everybody. And I'll phone in or Zoom in next month.
Great.
Thank
All right, Paul, have a good night.
You too. Bye.
Well, if anything, sounds like we're talking about new strategies, and I definitely think that's going to help us get a little more traction.
I'm sorry, can I say one final thing is that if I remember the bylaws correctly, there's one kind of technical tool that we still have left to our ability if it does occur this way, that is in the event of an absence, like an empty seat, that there's not a need for an election to fill that seat. The board can fill it, and then at the next election cycle, that seat would be voted on. So just in case there's an issue where we hit the end of our attempts at election and somebody still has to cycle off because of their life circumstances that are necessitating that, we can still fill that in the interim, knowing that the next time an election cycle comes around, it'll be elected. But in the meantime, the board can fill it.
I believe that's yes.
Yeah.
I have it in front of me though, if anybody's able to read that too. As we're chatting about this as well, like Miss Molly, can you send me the question that we're supposed to fill out? I don't know if I have that even for my own seat that is coming up for election.
Yes, I can.
Thanks.
Just to you, or should I send it to?
Peter, do you need that as well? Let's see. Our individuals who are hoping to stay with us yet need re-elected are myself, Peter, and that's it.
Okay. Will do.
Thank you.
Can I submit
then
my answers via interpretive dance?
Yeah.
Yes,
I like-
absolutely. Please do.
All right, team. Should we transition on to the next one? Is there more that we'd like to say about the election committee? I guess we probably need to. Do we need to make a motion to have our next meeting in person at Winterberry? Would everybody like to do a quick vote on that and say, hey, that's a good idea? We're going to try that, and we will do our best efforts to invite people to come to the meeting and show them what we do.
I will make a motion to have our next WCC meeting in person with a virtual option. And I will end it there for that motion, and then I'll follow up with saying I can certainly help with trying to make that a possibility.
I'll give a twinkle to that.
Sue, I second it.
Is anybody opposed to it? All right. The new normal. Business. Set a date for the 3-body meeting. Sorry, Julie, I kept that on there. I wasn't quite sure.
Yeah. I don't know, at this time, I think that it's definitely a desire, and it's a desire shared by everyone. And in the spirit of simplify and fortify, I think that simplify is going to probably win out, having to do with the 3-body, because it really needs a good buildup and good advertisement, and so that there's plenty of buy-in. And I think that the spirit is willing, but the body is weak or exhausted. So anyway, we could probably, it's not really up to me. It's something that we could probably talk about and make a decision about.
Julie, this is Sue. In lieu of maybe something extremely organized and very, labor intensive, is it possible to kind of do, if people are feeling the need because at WPG, there definitely was a desire to meet together and to find, to get new bodies. And I think that's what we're talking about here too, right? Like bringing in the people that we don't recognize when we do pick up or when we, and stuff like that. But is there, I think I would like to keep on the table or have an idea about is maybe just some more, just a reverse open house, like we've done the welcome to new families last year. Is there something that can incorporate just showcasing what each class has done, have encouraged parents to come and just a welcome when we say goodbye? I don't know. I'm driving and that's what's on my brain.
I think at this stage of the game, we probably have the bandwidth for I'll speak for myself. I probably have the bandwidth for a indoor, outdoor social gathering, maybe at whatever. I mean, I can't quite in my mind think about, I could talk to Miss Colleen and Shayna and see what I would be up for if people wanted just to tour the school, or we could decide to have a little social gathering for all the boards and invite everyone to have a little, gathering at, I don't know, if everybody just wanted to get together, or just two of our three boards, with teachers maybe going home because they're needing to get up and teach the next day or something. So if there is desire, I am happy to organize and participate in a board gathering at school. To board, WPG, WCC, if everybody just wanted to wear a name tag and get to know each other and see each other. Beyond that, I think it feels like it's almost April, and then we have April and May and a lot of things going on until then. So what is anybody else's feeling? Oh, there's Lisa.
Julie, I would really like to extend to you my gratitude for expressing the fact that there's not going to be a whole lot of bandwidth on faculty's part for a 3-body meeting. We're tired right now. We're tired. And typically at the end of the year, we're tired. Particularly at the end of this year, we're tired. So I am pretty confident that I can speak for faculty as one voice that we're not going to have the energy for a 3-body meeting. So if the intention of the 3-body meeting is to have families and parents connect and meet each other, that is absolutely a doable thing. And that can be something that is driven without faculty's participation. If the intention of a 3-body meeting is to make sure that all 3 of the bodies of our school are collectively coming together to recognize our purpose, faculty and staff are not going to have the energy to do it this year before the end of the school year. So Julie, thank you for recognizing where we're at right now. Our focus and intention is holding the children and the families through the final stretch of this year.
But like I said, if you guys would like to do a social gathering, the 2 boards, WCC, WPG, maybe indoor, outdoor, and a tour through the school, I'm happy to host or be a part of putting that together for anybody who would like that before the end of the school, and happy to do that.
Yeah, let's not call it a meeting. Let's call it a 3-body picnic. And just everybody brings something to share. And, I don't know that I've ever gotten to spend a considerable amount of time in person with Mr. Jensen. It's always been short bits. And, I think a lot of people might appreciate just the opportunity, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe there's a way to phrase it where we're not putting weight on anybody, just an opportunity. And especially if you kind of give an easy out as to like, hey, this is a last minute, just it's not even a body, it's just a Winterberry, I'm open. My family would be open to that, certainly, but I'm also super careful about what we're trying to get out of it and the cost of putting it into it, and readily accepting the fact that I'm short on a lot of things these days too. So who knows? maybe by next year, though, these things become more organic, where those opportunities to meet people, like my family met so many of Winterberry people by going to festivals, and this was before we even had kids in the school. And since we haven't had festivals, life has changed that. Since we haven't had in-person WCC meetings, it's certainly changed. So maybe next year, these problems that seem very difficult right now will find their natural cadence by next year. It's maybe hopeful.
Mark, do you think you could take us off screen share and then we could see
Yeah.
each other at the same time?
Awesome. Yeah, of course. Sorry. I don't even know if you actually see out of that. Let me make sure I'm annual calendar. Stop share. Hi, guys. Okay, sorry, that was a long chunk there. I'm not sure what action items to make out of all of our wonderful comments a moment ago. I'm probably gonna go. Sorry, go for it, Peter.
I was just going to say that my takeaway is that we're not looking to schedule a formal 3-body meeting at this time, given everybody's capacity / desire for such a thing. And instead, we might be looking to have some sort of gathering that is interactive and perhaps celebratory or gratitude based for the all the work that's gone into these past years. And given what Miss Lisa said, it would be lovely to do something for the staff beyond the monthly meals, and maybe just show gratitude and be looking towards next year. But I mean, the more formal thing is that we're not looking to do a 3-body meeting in the formal sense before the end of this school year.
I'll take it off the agenda, and we'll continue to float that question amongst our population and see what kind of if the drum beat gets louder. Does that sound about right?
This is Sue. One last thought,
Yeah.
and in terms of planning, and this might rope into the calendar that's on there. I don't know what that's about, but I do remember when grade 7 was going into grade 2, we had like a 3-body. We had what's Carl's name? There was a training, and it was all bodies were included in that. And so maybe with planning, it could be thought, there could be a thought that could be it could happen in August, September, maybe. So just planning wise, maybe it's something that happens. And Carl Starrett came up, and there was a 3-body training of sorts. So possibility.
And we definitely have George and Donna who will help us with a 3-body. They've expressed that they would do that. So depending on when we would be able to get that together, and that would be a very traditional, and I think it would be a really great opportunity for coming back, remembering what we do in its highest form, and seeing if George and Donna could help us establish another kind of a memory of a 3-body meeting that would work in that way. School mentors for years, George Hoffaker and Donna Burgess.
The WCC calendar review is me keeping it on there. The vision, of course, is to pull that up every month and take a look at what's coming down the pipeline as far as things we need to be considering. I'm still working on that calendar right now, so there's not a whole lot to show on that today, but I figure if I leave it on the agenda, I'll get to it. But there's vision and it's going to be a good time. I'll get it figured out. The WCC board self-evaluation. Does everybody have a moment to go through that? Is that an appropriate thing to do? Did Julie? I believe you sent that to me earlier this year, and I'm not sure if it got phased out or if ASD is still hoping that APC boards are going through that, or if it needs to be submitted. My intent was to have us pull it up. I did kind of a quick grading for myself. We could pull it up and just leave it totally blank if we want. I would certainly say that it's good to take a time and go through the questions and re-engage where maybe some of our gaps for things we think are important are not being addressed in the ASD needs.
Yeah, I think it's good practice to do self-evaluation every year for a board. And I know that they're talking on our charter school director, Chris Barr, he's trying to schedule board training, the Open Meetings Act, and also just other best practices of boards, which many of you were involved in last fall. And he is trying to schedule it, and it'll be sometime late September, early October, most likely. So that's another opportunity for the board, for our board, to attend a training that's really valuable. And just like we've been saying we're going to do, just try to get into the habit of doing things that are best practice. And I think that looking at how we operate is a good thing to do. And then, there's always room for improvement. Thankfully, we're not perfect.
If it's all right, I'll just read the questions. We'll keep our cadence going, and we can change any evaluations that I put on there. I just wanted to make sure that I was kind of going through it myself. And it does, we don't have to put a ton of time into each question, I don't think. But we should engage if we see something on there that we weren't aware we were supposed to be paying attention to. So if it's all right, I will pop that up right now and give it a short bit of our evening tonight. All right. I'm not sure when they created this document, how old it might be. Try to move there we go. Okay. Our grading scale is very good, satisfactory, needs improvement, no opinion. Please tell me if I'm going a little too fast. Our APC refrains from misuse of executive session provision as defined in the Open Meetings Law. I gave us a high grade on that one. It seems like we're very good, attentive to it. We conduct our business only at appropriate called meetings. I also, from my perspective, see that we're doing a good job at that. If anybody, obviously, if somebody says wants to add something to this, feel free. Each of our regular meetings agendas has a purposeful focus on student learning and achievement, demonstrated through student staff presentations, student staff recognition, and dialogue connected to students' learning and achievement. I gave us a very strong because I think we are student focused. Although, and most of our meetings were not specific, it's the things that we're thinking of as our student staff presentations or recognition of achievements, are often more Winterberry things, Eurythmy, workshops and such. Maybe would anybody like to contribute something to that?
In some of the different marks that I gave us throughout the course of this, the measure of whether or not the things we do are focused on achievement, I wasn't sure exactly whether or not that's us, because given our motivations as a school and as a body, to some degree, it's connection and development and whole being, health, and those sorts of things. And academic achievement is part of that, certainly, but not everything we talk about is toward that end. But conceivably we could say that all those other things are achievement, but I wasn't absolutely certain in some of my ratings of these things whether or not exactly what achievement meant. I know that that's semantics and all that, but when I went through it, that was something that occurred to me to a certain degree.
Yeah, I switched it from an S to a V just because of that specifically, Peter, that I feel for what our academic targets are, we're very focused on that. So I just spun it to our that we're doing just fine for us.
Yeah, I mean, this is an APC meeting operation, so it's giving a glimpse at the language that's used in neighborhood schools and in their district in different ways. And I think that it's very appropriate to overlay on that our take on achievement, which is a whole child, all the capacities of a child and taking a long view. So, as much as this matters, it's like I think that the WCC, that is the focus. I mean, I can't think of other things that WCCs or APCs would be, I guess, money, but money then focuses on, yeah. And maybe we could do better. Maybe we could provide the WCC with more information about the classrooms and the learning environment and the focus, more education to the board on Waldorf education that may be important and helpful. And if that's
our newsletter really targets that, though. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I see this one, number 3, I kind of was thinking satisfactory, because I would, as a meeting, I don't know, I feel like sometimes it's, and maybe it's just because we're meeting on Zoom. I think, Julie, your report is really chock full of goodness. But sometimes it's like, okay, what else, other than your report, where, when it said demonstrated student and staff presentations, I'm like, well, I want to see those, but that would be more work for somebody. So I would say satisfactory, because we can always make improvements, but I would agree to the other 2 as V's.
Awesome. Our APC members can honestly say we made decisions based on information provided and or requested, and not on preconceived ideas. I'm not sure I could think of a quality example of yes or no on that. So maybe I should have just put down an NA. Does anybody have a preference on whether that? I'm not sure why then I put down a satisfactory.
Well, let's think of a decision. Let's think of a decision that was made based on information. Like, what's a decision? A decision was made, let's see.
Masking. with
Well,
COVID-21.
but that was last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say the cohorting, but I guess that would be last year too, or
Yeah.
But we did
Yeah.
make a decision this year that we would follow ASD's protocols rather than deviating. And that was based on information provided and not on preconceived ideas. And
I
that
agree.
was this year. That wasn't last year.
I agree. And even the determination to defer making a specific determination as a body until we had more information, even though we all had strong feelings, coming into the meeting. I believe when it was, the email came from the district, maybe the day before we had met, that masking was going to be optional, and it was kind of early. I think we were very conservative in a good way, as a body, and based our choices on information instead of preconceived ideas.
So, sounds good to me. And I'd also say that, obviously, what I witness is a lot of decisions for the school based on our shared philosophies, and not just simply based on this is the way things have always been done. So that's all right. I'll switch that to a V. And move on to the next one. We as an APC receive agenda material in the time frame established in our policy, allowing for adequate time to study information before the scheduled APC meeting. Given I don't always get stuff out to you guys as early as I'd like, couldn't exactly give myself a V.
I'd like to say, Mark, that you have, once we clued into the fact, we used to do it, 48 hours or something. And then we, at our training last fall, we had heard that a week was a good amount of time. And I feel like you consistently have sent information to us to post the agenda and all that in a very, that definitely has gotten better than in previous years, when it was just like sometimes just right under the gun. But I could say for myself, getting my principal's report sooner, because in that meeting they talked about why, like, having a packet of information, and WPG actually does a really good job with that. Kelly, there's Kelly. Kelly, are your ears burning tonight? She is their secretary, and she bundles everything and puts it in a folder and gets it out to everyone, and does a really good job of linking and all those things. So again, like, I think S is a good one because I think it's doing a good job, and we could be on the road to doing better, just so that all the board members can thoroughly read the information and come to the board meeting prepared to make decisions, rather than, oh yeah, I didn't read the agenda or approve the minutes. I mean, really taking up your job seriously. And, I think we're doing good enough, and I think that there's room for improvement, is my opinion.
Thanks, Julie.
This is Sue, and I just want to say that I feel like we are having really good conversations, and that this is like 4 or 5 pages long. So I don't know if we want to make a decision to go through like the next 2 sections and then save the rest of it for next week, or power through it. That's just, I would like to maybe have the conversations we're having and decide to go through the next 2 sections and then work on the rest of it next time. That's recommendation.
I agree that potentially setting a time limit of wherever we have gotten to by 7:45 is where we've gotten to, and begin to do kind of gratitude and meeting closeout stuff, with the idea that we complete the rest of this in our next meeting. Because I do appreciate the conversation. I don't want to just breeze through the entirety, I think it will inform some of our decisions and efforts in the coming year, knowing that these are kind of the metrics and goals that we're looking at. But I also, don't want to keep people beyond the 8 p.m. sort of timeline.
That sounds smart to me. Plus, we'll have more time to chew it over. I mean, in a positive way. So we'll go through principal and maybe staff, and then we'll pick it up from there. And we'll note this in our minutes. And so that way I won't forget next month we're at the time. APC principal, our team has a specific and purposeful process for defining our principal's performance expectations and corresponding evaluation, including reflection of our charter goals and the principal's responsibility and role in administering and leading our school towards these goals. I probably should have gave that a V. Maybe because I'm critical of myself too, and that's how we learn. But anyone else have a thought on that? I mean, I think we did a thorough job going through the process.
I mean, I put an S as well. The whole idea of specific and purposeful. To a certain degree, we are a lucky body that I'm not blowing smoke, that we have somebody as talented and driven as Julie is, that we've gotten to just kind of get together and say, wow, how lucky are we, and give a good review and kind of move on. I would say that we've also had the circumstance over the past couple of years of kind of facing an incredibly challenging time in history and specifically education history as well. And there's a lot of trust involved, and certainly we're working with a very trustworthy person. So I put S just because I'm not sure that when I personally was thinking about this, I couldn't remember exactly how specific and purposeful it had been in attempting to review that. But the thing is that we've been very, very lucky. The person that we've gotten to work with. So I said we did a decent job. It's very hard for me to give myself an A, which is kind of what V looks like to me in this situation. But I put an S as well. So you're not being overcritical of yourself, I don't think.
Well, and I thank you very much, Peter, for kind words. And what I would say is, I think an S is appropriate in the fact that they're the charter goals, principles, responsibility, and if we are going to move this body toward a really sound way of evaluating this role that I am currently in, that I will not be in forever. And I think it could be just honed, just from the sheer fact that nobody's done it much before, and we could just do better. I mean, to me, the V is like, it's, done. And I think that I think it could be looked at even more critically, as far as even in terms of how you're going to measure that ability, like how at the end of the year you are going to measure what it is that the principal did, first letting the principal know all the things that are expected, and then measuring those expectations throughout the year to really give a good reflection of what went on, what needs work. And of course, constructive criticism is important, and that's what I count on the board to be watching and helping and knowing what's going on. And that's going to take some time, especially like you said, in this crazy time that we just came out of, which was not normal in law help, you know. So anyhow, I think S is appropriate in my opinion.
The APC set aside time, at least semi-annually, to discuss APC principal relations. I think we obviously, I mean, I put a V down for that because I think we care and I think we put in the time. And right now we're honing in our effectiveness of that time. But I gave us a V. Anybody else have a perspective on that? It's different.
I think it's great. You are an incredibly supportive board, just in my view of watching boards throughout 17 years. And I feel very supported by you. Grateful.
Our APC maintains ongoing open lines of communication, observes the chain of command. You know what? I'm not sure why that's an S. I would have put that as a V. I think we try to play by the rules as best possible, which is difficult. I can only imagine life before these rules were set, and that would have been pretty challenging to feel trustworthy, you know, that there wasn't some sort of like school coup going on or whatever. So if it's all right, I'd like to change that to a V unless there's a change of heart on that one.
I would agree with V. I know that it can be tough to imagine what it is like to be part of a dysfunctional board organizational relationship when you have a functional one, but there certainly are organizations who have governing bodies who overstep the role and go directly to staff or don't listen to the things that are coming their direction from their leaders and those sorts of things. And I think that the communication and observance of chain of command is right on point with this organization.
We conduct a comprehensive and fair annual evaluation of the principal in accordance with our bylaws. V. The APC and the principal agree on information needed by the APC and when and how the APC receives that information. I think we discussed that. I think at least out of myself, maybe we're fortunate enough, like we've mentioned before, to be already fairly fine-tuned, and the tools we have at hand are working. You know, the principals report, the budget report, that's feeding us a lot of the information that we need, and we should continue to ask questions that we need to ask. But you know, when we have questions about enrollment or whatever, we're getting the answers we need. Does anybody else have a perspective on that that's different from a V? Our APC understands the distinction between the APC's role and the function of the administration. We as APC are the navigator, giving direction to the principal who steers the ship. I'm not sure why I put S on there. Maybe because it's a complicated question. I'm not sure I, fully thought of examples. I don't think that any of us circumvent the chain of command, though. I think we're fairly functional in that. So, and a lot of that is just based on trust, and we're fortunate to have that circle of trust.
And I think that as the board gets better educated, as there's going to be some shifts in the board, currently, and then let's just, in all hopeful thoughts, you get a whole new group of board members, and then you do board education, and I will help to provide more just Waldorf education and things that were suggested in our fall board meeting. just educating the board, educating a group of parents that have volunteered to come together. And in that way, then those parents, because I think in this question, what they're saying is the APC is the board that holds the vision for the school. And those parents that are on that APC have to understand that that role, that this is that board that holds a vision. And then with that vision, like if you had to hire a new principal right now who didn't know very much about whatever Waldorf education, that you would then be navigating, like, okay, we're going to do it in this direction. You'd be watching and being very careful that this particular principal was going to follow the philosophies that the founding WCC and ongoing as they learned more put in play. So that's how I think if you were to sort of look at it in that way. So I would actually say that, I mean, unless you feel like you don't need improvement, I think maybe an S at this point until we get, well, I don't know. I mean, between an S and a V, because you have some people on the board who have a lot of knowledge of Waldorf education in our past, and others that are still in that kind of learning curve. So.
This is Sue. I agree with an S, just because I feel like with us being virtual and just kind of that, like, there's still questions like, right, who, what's our role? I mean, I still have questions like, what's my role? What do I do? And I think that part of it has to do with having met virtually and not really having that time to build relationships and really kind of dig into things, because there's distractions when you're on virtual, just like there are distractions when you're in person. So I would say S.
Boy, I'm probably going to have to lean towards the yes, just because, quite frankly, there are a lot of questions that I ask where I'm continuously like, hey, Julie, am I doing this right? Because new kid syndrome. So yeah.
Well, can I just say one other thing that can help? If you were to go out and start a school, or go out and start anything, a business or whatever, based on your desire to want to see that, whatever, and then you thought, well, I'll hold the vision and I'm going to hire somebody to actually run it. That's what the APC or WCC is. It's the one that's holding the vision for the school. And the stronger the board, the more you know what goes on, and Rudolf Steiner philosophy, and why he had that philosophy, and why then we do the things we do. The more that this board knows that, and then why things are in the charter the way they are. And I just went through the charter again today looking for something, and I was thinking, oh, this is a really great document that we should all be very familiar with. And anyhow, so if you were going to start a business yourself, and you had an idea and a thought and a philosophy and all that, and then you hired somebody to run that philosophy for you, that's kind of what it is. And so I think then it gives an indication of like, oh, okay, I have a lot of responsibility to know what is going on here. And it takes a long time to learn it all. Steiner is a rich thinking person. So anyway, and I want to help with that. So I will do better in the coming years to help educate the board also, just putting myself there. So no more, because it's 7:45.
7:45. We did a good job, and let's reward ourselves by calling it quits halfway through. Maybe you want to give us a twinkle on that one?
Everybody's
all right. There we go. I'll take it. I'm going to go ahead and stop the share. We are now at gratitude, followed by adjournment. Gratitudes. Let me get my gratitude hat on. Anybody like to lead us on that?
Yeah, I want to start off just before anybody else takes it. the work that I'm sure it has taken Shayna and other individuals to utilize ESSER funding to its optimal benefit for the school during a difficult time. Just seeing that report, I just really appreciate all the effort that's gone into that. It's one of those things that it's not necessarily feel good effort, nobody's gonna say, oh, you made the numbers work. But it's super important to make that function. And I'm really grateful for the school and for the continuity of my kids' education that you and other folks did that work. So thank you. I'm really grateful.
I am really, really grateful for our teachers who come to school every day, open their hearts, and all that energy that it takes to take care of those 230 children, and your children who we care about so much, and your treasure. And anyway, I am grateful to the teachers and, well, to WCC also. Thank you for your work. But really, our teachers they're just wonderful. They really are.
Yeah, I got to piggyback on that one. And not only the everyday intensity of the work itself, but thank you for coming to these board meetings and letting me get to know you that way. That's a big part of why we chose Winterberry. And thank you, Miss Lisa, and thank you, Miss Molly, and Lisa, or sorry, Sarah's not here tonight, but thank you for Sarah. And yep, everybody, good work. Thank you.
Julie, I'm grateful for you and everything you do to keep the ship afloat, and to Shayna for keeping the financial ship afloat.
Thanks, Molly.
Would somebody be willing to adjourn us?
This is Sue. I
Not
move to
quite yet.
adjourn. Oh,
Oh, sorry. I just want to, because I thought somebody else might do it. Did Miss Lisa already leave the meeting, or are we still?
No, she's in the top right hand corner.
Sorry, I'm doing this on my phone. My laptop's mic ceased to work this week. It has been the most annoying thing. I don't like doing these meetings on my phone.
I'm here, Peter. I'm here.
Two people that hold a very special place in our Waldorf journey are Miss Diane and Miss Lisa, and for introducing our kids and our family to this way of learning and growing and being, and all the value that has come since. I will miss your presence in these meetings, and I'm just very grateful to you.
Yeah, I will second that as well too. I guess I didn't even realize you said it earlier, but this will be your last meeting, Miss Lisa, and I appreciate everything that you've done to help out with this body, and then also with little Presley last year and everything. It's been a pleasure, and hopefully get to see you more at school now. That's another thing that I've just been very grateful for, is I think this is just, most winters usually feel a little long, but this one feels a little longer than normal. And I think with the being lighter and people coming to school with like less bundle on and seeing everybody's faces and everything again, it's just, I don't know, it feels like we're kind of getting to this light at the end of the tunnel, and it's it's been very nice to see everybody's smiling faces and see everybody. And I'm really excited if we can make this meeting happen next month. I think that would be great. And get to actually see all you guys in person and hang out for a little bit. I think it'll be awesome. So, and really appreciate all the hard work that the teachers and the staff do. You guys are doing an amazing job. So thank you.
And let's not forget parents in our gratitude, because without parents, we wouldn't have a school. Thank you.
Go ahead, Sue.
Should we adjourn?
All right, I move to adjourn. This is Sue.
Avid second.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Thank
Night.
you. Bye.